After this game, you just take the point and run. But not too far. We got to play him again tomorrow. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone. Is your Jakubczak making too much noise all the time?
I haven't really prepared for this.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. The Blackhawks have just completed their 7th game of their regular season. First game in a 4-game road trip to Nashville and Columbus, and their first game of a back-to-back with the Predators, and they kick it off with a tie and then a loss in overtime. The Preds win by a score of 3-2, and the Blackhawks drop to a record of 2-3-2, which is perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Now, the main story leading into this game was the fact that Alex DeBrincat and Adam Boqvist were both placed on the NHL COVID protocol list, meaning that they are in quarantine right now, not with the team, not practicing, not playing until they are eventually cleared. Now, I made a video on that yesterday, but today, naturally, we found out that that video is already out of date. We found out today that they're going to be out a minimum of 2 weeks, so they're going to be missing quite a few games. So the Blackhawks need to find some players to play in their place, and also they need to find a way to kind of cope with not having those players in the lineup. The two players who ended up getting inserted into the lineup ended up being Matthew Highmore on offense and Lucas Carlsson on defense. Now, in my video about the COVID situation, I mentioned that we may get a chance to see Wyatt Kalynuk on defense. That didn't happen tonight, but considering that Alex and Adam are both going to be out for a minimum of 2 weeks, I think there's still a strong possibility that we will eventually see them in one of these upcoming games. But for now, first crack, Lucas Carlsson. Speaking of inserting players into the lineup, Malcolm Subban gets the start in net for this one. His first start since the very first game of the season, just about 2 weeks ago. And you might be asking, well, why didn't we start Lankinen again? He's played pretty well the last 3 games, won his last 2. Ride the hot hand, right? Right? I hear you. But you got to remember that this is a rebuilding year. And the Blackhawks are not trying to find their starting goaltender for this year. They're trying to figure out what they have at the goaltender position for the future, especially considering that there's an expansion draft coming up in the summer, which I still need to do a video about. I know, I'm super late on it. But they need to protect one of these goaltenders for that draft. So you need to give all 3 of these goaltenders a good enough sample size to make a decision on. And 3 games for Lankinen, 2 games for Delia, 1 game for Subban, which was the very first game of the season, which without preseason games was pretty much a crapshoot for the team in front of them. Not even mentioning that they were up against the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. None of those are a large enough sample size. You got to expect that all 3 of these goaltenders are going to be playing a pretty close to even amount of games throughout this entire season. And with that said, Malcolm Subban played really well in this game. He's probably the biggest reason this game got into overtime and the Hawks got a point, because the team in front of them was pretty ugly. The Hawks got outshot 39-20 in this game, basically a 2-to-1 ratio, which honestly is kind of surprising because it looked worse than that. The Hawks really struggled at the faceoff dot as well and had a lot of trouble with the Predators' forecheck. Really struggled to get clean exits and to just get the puck out of the zone. And that created a lot of opportunities for sustained offensive pressure for the Predators. And that's where Subban came in. Only giving up 2 goals in regulation from that type of pressure pretty much all game long. That's pretty darn good. Now, the Hawks would get an early power play opportunity in this game, and although it's been hot to start this year, the question would remain, would it stay hot without Alex DeBrincat and Adam Boqvist in the lineup? Well, we got the answer early in the first period that the power play can't stop, won't stop, and as the great Bruno of the Mars variety once proclaimed, too hot, hot damn. Dylan Strome beats Pecorine from the slot area after a nifty little feed from Andrew Shaw. And for the 3rd straight game, the Blackhawks would score the very first goal of the game. They would take a 1-0 lead early in the first period, and they would take that lead into the second. Now, after that early first period power play, there was about a 5-minute stretch there where the Hawks probably had their best stretch of hockey in this game. They forechecked well. They were getting offensive zone pressure. They had some really good shifts, and the Predators were stumbling, and the Blackhawks had some opportunities to get another goal. They didn't, but they had some really good opportunities. With that said, they still got outshot 17-8 in that first period, which will tell you how the latter half of that first went, and is a precursor to how the rest of the game would go as well. Just under 5 minutes into the second frame, the turnovers would cost the Hawks as they turned the puck over in the neutral zone, and then Zadorov would turn the puck over in the defensive zone, leading to Trenin being a one-on-one with Subban, and, well, he beat Subban short side, and this game is tied up at 1 apiece. Now, the shot totals for the second period were actually pretty even, just 8-7 in favor of the Predators, but that's a little deceiving because the Blackhawks did block a crap ton of shots during that middle frame. The Predators were definitely the ones carrying play. However, that didn't prevent the Hawks from regaining the lead. Just past the halfway mark of the game, Predators with the puck in the offensive zone. Got a good shift going. Matt Duchene with the puck on the right-hand board spots defenseman Ryan Ellis at the point on the left-hand side, but he does not spot elite defensive back Mattias Janmark, who picks off his pass and takes it to the house. Pick six! I gotta say, that was the slowest breakaway I've ever seen. Sorry, slowest successful breakaway I've ever seen. I don't know how Ryan Ellis did not catch him. He must have been at the end of a long shift because, my goodness, that took forever. No moves at all, just straight snipe past Rene. I will take it. And the Hawks have a 2-1 lead somehow, some way, going into the third period. However, it was only a matter of time before the Predators would tie it up. Blackhawks took a couple penalties in that third period, which did not help, and the Predators would outshoot the Blackhawks 12-4 in that final frame. And with just about 9 minutes left to go in the game, Mikael Granlund would put the puck in past Subban and tie this game up, and this game would go to overtime, tied at 2. The overtime period would not be really any better for the Hawks. They barely had any time with the puck, and it would all end with a miscommunication between Dylan Strome and Patrick Kane, which led to Roman Josi just basically walking in on Subban and tucking it home. And so the Preds win by a score of 3-2, which honestly is a pretty fair result. Blackhawks really can't complain about getting just a single point out of this performance. So obviously not the greatest starts to this 4-game road trip, but a point on the road is never really a bad thing. Now we get to see if the Blackhawks learned anything from this ugly performance, because they got to come right back and play the Predators once again tomorrow night for the back end of this back-to-back. Subban will most likely not get the start again, despite how well he played in this one. Wouldn't be surprised to see either of Delia or Lankinen in net. And I wouldn't be surprised if more lineup changes are made, as well as the Blackhawks kind of tool with what they got, considering Alex DeBrincat and Adam Boqvist are both out. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some sort of enjoyment out of this. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as well. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.